Hello everyone, welcome back. So got myself some clean water. You'll need your water brush for this stage and your tussle brush or your wee angle corner brush. So as I said before, after you lay it all on there and your first and second coat, wash your trowel and your tools up, but just give mine a wee quick once over here before I start. Make sure it's nice and clean. And testing the wall. Always touch your walls and test them. If they're too wet, leave it 5 minutes, wash up, clean up, tidy up around yourself and before you start. So again, this is going to be the first, second trowel and the third trowel. I've already showed you in a previous video how I coated this wall, and I will link that in the description as well. So you'll have noticed I've started, like my coating, I've started up in the top left hand corner, as I'm right-handed. I will work left to right, and you can see I need a wee bit of water as it is warm here and it is drying that wee bit quicker, so you might need a wee bit of water just to help your trowel glide over the finish a wee bit easier, and it'll also bring back your finish to life a wee bit. You can see I've turned my trowel around there. I'm just filling in the corner because the back of my Refina trowel is still a little bit more square than the front, and it will catch them corners for me. And you'll notice what I'm doing here. I don't always trowel a wall like this. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I find this is probably the fastest way to do it, which is I'll trowel maybe 2 sections at the top here, and then what I'll do is I'll take my dirty water and any tool marks in the middle and I'll take them with me, and you'll see that in a wee minute here as I kick the crate over. So you see straight away I'm going to pull out my angle. Pulling out my angle, I'll work it all the way down to the bottom. And what this is doing is I'm just taking the wall with me. It's sort of, it doesn't save lots of time, but it is saving me time. The fact that I'm not going all the way to the right of the wall and then back to the bottom of the left across. And to me, it's a slight bit quicker. Obviously, I have multiple walls on here, so every couple of minutes will help me out. And you can see I'm taking my time on the corners, guys. The corners, well, we're speaking, cut me in a couple of subscribers. Obviously, the corner of the wall is one of the most obvious parts of the wall that if there's any kinks or bends or dirty trowel marks or dirty water marks, it will be noticed. And it won't take a great plaster to even notice them. Anybody can see them. Everybody will look at their corners, their angles and stuff. And the reason we were talking is the guy was asking about straightening up the wall. Again, I will drop that link in as well of how I straightened this sand cement up. And I was telling him, obviously the important parts of a wall is all the angles in the corners and the bottom skirting angle. Of course the middle is just as important as well, but all them parts I have just described are the parts that will be noticed by everybody, and not just tradesmen and plasters, but everybody will see these in effect. So you can see I'm back onto the top again and I'm bringing my water down the way. Always chasing your water away from the top. If you take your water away, this will stop them tagger marks and them trowel marks. It'll stop dirty water marks as well. Dirty water marks will dry in the form of powder when the wall's done. It'll be like a wee streak of powder. It might be greasy before the wall's completely dried, but mark my words, if you leave your dirty water marks on and the painter just paints over them, you will see them, and they will just look like trowel marks. They'll look like you've not really bothered with the wall. So this is important to take your water with you. I'm trying to get as much detail in here as possible, as you probably noticed, and you can still see taking all my tool marks with me, water marks, and filling in any wee hollows. Well, there won't be much hollows at this stage, but any wee holes, wee tiny pit marks, any trowel marks that sometimes you catch it with the trowel and you make a wee hole yourself. This is the time to get them filled in. You can, if you are replastering the wall, say, I do have a video on that too, which will also be in the description. But say this was a reskim job, you might want to hit your first trowel with less water. You don't necessarily have to have water splashed on the wall with your first trowel. It all depends on how fast your wall's setting, how fast the plaster's going off, and how much it's soaking in. But again, like I said, this wall has been wet down and scraped previous to me even coating it. Like I said before, prepare your walls. I always say it, but I'll say it again. Preparation is key to plastering, guys. It's the only way. I'm going to actually try and bring the camera in closer at some stage here and show you. You can see there actually got a wee bit of stuff off the board. So this is your first trowel. Definitely my motto was you're always trying to, even when I was coating it, I was trying to have the wall so flat that the next trowel is easy. And I do it the same every trowel. I'm trying to do it as if I'm finishing the wall. I'm not completely overworking it, but I'm getting out every wee hollow, any wee hole, any tool mark, any trowel mark, any bit of water. It's all coming off. I'm trying to get it perfect from stage 1 to the end stage. It just makes life easier. And of course, this trowel I'm using, if you're new to plastering, I recommend maybe going for a trowel that's ready to use. You can see I'm actually picking out a wee stone out of the wall there. These are things you're going to want to do early on. Even when you're coating, if there's a wee stone or a wee bit of hard plaster, take it out, because it might, when your wall's nearly finished and you have the wall nearly finished and you think, I've got it beat, you might be troweling at the wall and that wee stone can come loose and scrape the wall, and then you're back to square one with a big bit to fill in, but your stuff's all set, So definitely pick out anything, any wee bits of grit from your sand, or a bit of dirt off the board, or even hairs from the brush. Pick them all out, because they could scratch the wall as you're troweling. Obviously this does sound very, very fussy from me, but it's the way when I'm troweling up and plastering, it's the way I go. I try to, obviously I'm doing these jobs so that they not only look good but are good. Plastering is, it's something people will look at and say, yes, that's right, he's done that well, it looks good. Inside or outside, they'll always have looks at it, but with plastering, it can't only just look good, it has to be sound and good as well. It can't, you have to do everything right. The way I try to do everything is by the book. And then, if you do everything by the book, then you can't go much far wrong that way. But like I said, plaster not only has to look good, but it has to be good in the sense that it has to last. And when I am plastering, guys, I tend to want to try and make this, every job I do, I aim to try and have it outlive me. So that's a big bold statement to say, but that's my goals. You buy a £500 iPhone, you're going to get 2 years out of that thing. When I plaster a couple of walls, I'm aiming to try and go 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I'm looking way ahead. I'm not looking, when I do jobs, I'm not just looking, get the job, get the money. I really do honestly want the job to last as long as possible, because that in itself will get you more work. Maybe 10 years down the line, the guy's painting it a different colour and the people are still in the same home. Who plastered this room? Mac plastering. Your work will speak for you. So, if it lasts, you know that customers are going to be happy. For instance, if they move house, if they're investors, if they're builders, they know a good job, they'll come back. So it all is relevant. So again, after your first trowel, get your tools washed up. So guys, just like to give a wee shout out to the cameraman here. He's been doing a cracking job there. Been getting a bit of grief recently. But anyway, back to the plastering. don't be afraid to touch your plaster as you're going, guys. You know, you have to touch it, trowel it, you have to feel how dry it is. You can see that surface, there's still a wee bit of moisture in it, but you can see that when I was putting my fingers across, that, you know, it wasn't moving too much, it's not soaking wet. Cameraman's doing another good job here, he's holding this up for me. Boy could have a job, the BBC, so good. You know, I've upgraded the cameraman to perfection. But again, you know, touch your wall, it's nice and dry, you know, it's still a bit of moisture in it. You know you're ready for your second trowel up. And again, have your tools ready to go, nice and clean. If you need a clean bucket of water, now would be the time to go for it. But personally, I think, you know, if you're not taking, like I said in my previous hard plaster video, you shouldn't be taking loads off the wall. You're just moving it about. You're ironing the wall. You're taking the imperfections out and filling in the imperfections. So anything you take off should be sort of get spread back on into any wee bits and pieces. You know, you're not moving it about loads, because you try and do that in your coating. Try and have it nice and neat and even in your coating. That's why a good even coat is essential. That's why I was cracking on. That's a big long video previous to this big long video. And again, you see plastering is quite repetition. And back up, top left. You can see I'm putting more water on the wall this time. And again, the wall is drying a wee bit, and you can see I'm using the water brush and putting it up and down. This is a good quality water brush. Not sure if it's a Refina one. I don't think this one's a Refina. I think this one's from T for Tools. But again, don't be afraid to actually paint the water on the way I'm doing. Again, I've found another wee tiny bit that was bugging me. Pick it out now and trowel on. And again, you can see I'm taking my time on the corners, getting them nice and clean. I'm actually using a wee corner brush. I have a video on that as well, on how to clean angles. There's more detail on that, and if I remember, I'll put that in the description. But you can see, you know, again, back to the corners thing, very important. You see them a mile away. Get them clean and tidy from the word go, and make your life easy later on. You can see I'm chasing the water from the top down, and now down, back up and round. So the water's coming down the wall, and then it's coming from the left hand side to the right hand side of the wall. You don't have to do it that way. You can go all the way along the top and then come along the bottom and take your water, but you know, I'm sort of keeping the water fresh as I'm troweling here. So if the wall is setting, this might be a wee bit of a tactic for you. You know, if you're struggling a wee bit, this might be a wee bit of a better tactic for you to go ahead and do the top section, do a section at the bottom, do another top section. You know, you're breaking the wall up into wee sections. It's definitely the way to go. You know, I'm sure if you're a marathon runner, you sort of know what I'm talking about. This is a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. Evenly pace yourself out. Don't, you know, if the wall is setting quick, you might have to move quicker. But the idea is that you've tried to make everything as easy as possible. Control the suction. Like the red bags I'm using here, they're supposed to be a 3-hour setting time, but they probably will set in about 2 hours here. But again, I've chose that plaster for a reason, because it's that bit slower, and it gives me that bit more time on walls that I know could set faster. But you know, you will find that you will be trying to think ahead when you're plastering. Although this ceiling is just a concrete ceiling, I'm still trying to keep it as clean and tidy as possible, as the guy that owns the place might very well paint that ceiling, you know, so he's going to want to have clean, tidy angles to paint, and that's the aim here. So you can see, even if you catch the back of the trowel, there's not much coming off. Cleaning the angles as we go again. It's as easy as a wee tussle brush across them. Some, you know, if you have got a wee jap, a wee blob across it, you might need to give it a bit of a scrape with your trowel and then give it a clean. And again, taking the water from top to bottom. and then I'll lose it in the right hand corner. I'll take it all the way on the back of the trowel. But you can see the wee bit of fat I'm just putting back on wherever there's wee bits and taking away. So after this trowel, guys, the wall will be ready for a superflex trowel. You know, if you're in doubt and there's still any lines or anything, you might want to give it another steel trowel and then give it a wee dry run with a super trowel, a superflex. You know, but it's what does work for you. If any pro plasters are still watching at this stage, it's obviously, of course, you know, if something's working for you and you're finding life easy enough, why change? But if you're finding life tough, superflexes might be the way to go. And like I promised earlier, you know, not much on the trowel there, guys. This is the second trowel, not much on my trowel. Like I said, you're not taking loads off. See the wee trowel marks? I'm going to try my best here to sort of show you a wee close up of me taking out the dirty water. See that? Taking it with me, and it's on the far side of the trowel. Start again, fill in any wee bits, taking it with me. See the wee hole? Fill them in, take it with you. I'm always coming away from the good side of the plaster and leaving all the sort of dirt and leftovers on the far end of the trowel. See what I'm saying? It's coming off the toe of the trowel, not the top. I'm taking it away with the top half of the trowel and leaving the excess with the bottom half of the trowel. You know, the corners are very important, and this is me. I'm chasing it all into the corner. Very hard for the camera to pick us up so close as well. But so this is the stage now for superflexing. You can see that the wall's just starting to go. Believe it or not, this wall is a lot further on than some walls would be at this stage. Some other walls would be, you can see I'm using an ox trowel here, the Ultraflex, to give this a finish. And you can see how clean I have it. You know, if you look after the tools, they will last you a lot longer. You know, don't slam them about, keep them clean. But like I said, this wall is actually pretty much gone at this stage. It's very much set. You can see the browning off there is the wall actually turning. It's changing colour. The whole wall will go completely brown, and then after several days it'll start to turn white. In this case, it'll probably sort of start turning white by another 2-3 days, as it is very warm here. At the minute, I'm saying it's very warm here. It's not usually very warm here, but we've got such a good heat wave. And again, repetition. I'm starting from my left hand to my right hand again. Same thing. You're probably, you know, it's repetition. You're always going to be going the same way as you started. You can see I'm covering ground very quickly with this trowel. It's quite a large trowel, and it leaves a lovely finish at this stage. Same as Refina superflexes. Even at this stage, I'm not even sure which one I would favour so much. But you know, this is the one that came to hand, and it's the one that's being used. I've went the same way I was going every other time in the wall. Like I said, you could go all the way along the top and then hit the bottom, taking your water away. And again, in this stage, I'm using very little water. It's kind of one of the benefits with the Superflex. You don't need as much water. I find you don't need as much water anyway to finish off. You can give the wall a good cut. You know, if there is any wee bits, you can still cut them off. But by this stage, the wall is practically finished. By my second coat and my first and second trowel, you know, the way I do it with my second coat, it's almost like a first trowel. Not saying, not trying to big myself up, but it's sort of, I take my time second coating to almost give myself that bit of a boost later on, and this is kind of where it benefits you in this stage, in the finishing stage, where there's literally this wall is finished, and just going over it, quick check everything, you're going right around the whole wall, and again you can see nothing's coming off. Don't really want to be taking anything off. All that work should be done already. At this stage, the wall, you're really just polishing the wall up, and if there's any wee pinholes, you're filling them in as you go. And again, the less water you use on the walls, the better, because technically you'll be diluting the finish, especially the surface. And the more water you use, the more chance you're going to leave watermarks everywhere. So I'm trying to show you the angle there, but the cameraman didn't really come into a good angle to get that. But maybe next time. As you know, I will be doing more plastering videos, more skimming videos, more rendering videos, more dicing videos. We'll be doing more unboxing videos. Some very exciting stuff coming up. Kind of really exciting. Don't want to say too much and spoil it, but there's some really exciting stuff coming up on the channel. Some detailed stuff and some good tools coming up to be unboxed and reviewed and talked about. I think if anybody's still watching this stage, thanks a lot. But I think these will be very, very interested in some of the tools coming up and some of the things I'm going to be doing. But plastering, I might be saying this like it's easy. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. Knowledge is big key in plastering. It's your experience, but the only way you're going to get that experience, guys, is getting your hands dirty. Getting your trousers dirty, getting your hands on a trowel, getting big bucket mixed up and having a go on a wall. Like I always try to say, start small. Start small. Even if you're thinking big, start small. Start somewhere small. If you do mess it up, it wouldn't be as much then if you wanted just to get somebody to come in and fix it. Or if you try a big landing wall maybe and you make a bit of a mess on that, some plasters might not even want to come and fix it. That kind of way, and it may be a bit more expensive if you do real bad work on it. Might have to be bonded out or straightened out or chipped off at the very worst case. Was speaking about bonding as well. Somebody asked me why I didn't bond these walls, why I sand cemented them. And again, maybe the bottom half of this walls are actually underground, believe it or not. Actually, maybe right up to my head level could be underground outside here. So bonding is a big no-no for certain walls. This room in particular would be a big no-no for bonding on any of them walls. Maybe sticking beads and stuff wouldn't be so bad, but lower down in them corners you don't want bonding. It's a bit of a sponge when it comes to moisture. You can see washing my trowel here. Well, you can't see, but that's what I'm doing. I'm washing my trowel, keeping it clean for the next time. This wall's finished at this stage. I've just noticed a wee bit of mist, taking it away. You can dry trowel this wall. Some plasters prefer not to give the walls a shine. You can give this a cross trowel. If you overshine a wall, the painter will have problems painting. Or if you're going to paint it yourself, you might find that the paint, it doesn't dry in just as good. So this is it all done up, guys. Take us a wee walk around. It's fully set. Right down. There's a screed floor come up here if anybody thinks, what is that black thing? That black thing's the damp-proof membrane. And a screed floor's come up to that again. I imagine there will be, you can see this wall here is drying out already, but I imagine there will be more DPM to go in and maybe insulation and a screed. The previous video, we were talking about this ceiling and get a wee bit of a close up. We were talking about release agents. That's either rust from the reinforced steel or the release agents, all these sort of stains. You can see wee brown bits here and there. To me, that's probably grease. And again, that's why it's not being plastered.
What we doing live? Echoes in eternity.